Welcome students to Civil Services Achievers Point. We are discussing today the Assam Tribune of 17 and 18 October 2020. This Assam Tribune analysis is based on the new pattern of APSC and it is also useful for UPSC and other state level government examinations. At Civil Services Achievers Point, we have various courses. For details, you can call at the number given below. You can also follow us on the social media platforms. These are the answers to the MCQs of our current affairs video of 16 October. And these are the MCQs of 18 October 2020. Students, you can pause the video here and you can attempt this MCQs and kindly mention the answer in the comment section. We will share the answers to these MCQs in our next current affairs video. So these are the important newspaper articles we are discussing today and the important editorials from the Assam Tribune. So students, let us begin with the newspaper articles first. The first article is very important, and regarding this topic, various discussions are happening and also a committee is formed. So the background is that the decision on revising minimum age for marriage for girls, it will be done very soon as per the Prime Minister of India, and this topic we are studying under the General Studies 1 paper, Indian Society topic. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday said that the government will very soon take a decision on revising the minimum age of marriage for girls, and after it receives the report from the committee which is set up to review this topic. So this is a very important landmark. It will be a very landmark decision when it happens that the minimum age for girls for marrying is now 18 and for boys it is 21. So as per the committee recommendation, government will take a step on revising the minimum age for marriage for girls. The Prime Minister said that the girls' gross enrollment ratio in education has turned higher than that of the boys for the first time in country, because there have been several efforts taken by the government in the last few years. So the enrollment ratio in education for girls is higher than the boys, and this is for the first time in the country. So the Prime Minister said that he has been receiving various letters from women across the country asking about the report of the committee and when the government will take a decision on it. Currently, so here it is mentioned that currently the minimum age for marriage is 18 years for women and 21 for men. The Prime Minister highlighted the efforts taken by the government in the last 6 years to fight against malnutrition. So the government has taken many steps, integrated and holistic approach to deal with the challenge of malnutrition. The government has adopted a multidimensional strategy to work on all those factors responsible for high malnutrition. So this is very important article, and the next important article is the tea exporters have feared the dip in the or decrease in the export volume. So this is very important. So this topic we are discussing under the General Studies 3 paper, Economic Development. Indian tea exporters. So the background is that Indian tea exporters are fearing that there will be a drop in export volume in the current year due to the higher prices available in the domestic market. So as there is a higher prices which is available in the domestic market, there will be less incentive for exporting the tea, and then the exporters may have lesser volume to be exported, and then there will be trade deficit. Now what is trade deficit? Trade deficit means whenever there is more import than export. So if India's export further decreases, then the trade deficit will again increase. Now the exporters also complain about the lack of availability of shipping containers due to fall in imports, which has to also led to a steep rise in the freight rates. So here it is very important, the crush, tear and curl, CTC. It is a past year APSC question, that what is the full form of CTC, because CTC is a method. The crush, tear and curl is a method of processing black tea in which the leaves are passed through a series of cylindrical rollers with hundreds of sharp teeth that crush, tear and curl the tea into small and hard pellets. So this is important article. The next important article is that Asan Conservation Reserve makes it to the Ramsar list. Ramsar list. So this topic we are discussing under the General Studies 3 paper, Environment and Biodiversity. India now has 38 wetlands and the highest in South Asia, with one more added to the list of recognized sites of international importance under the Treaty of Ramsar Convention. So we know what is the Ramsar Convention. The Ramsar Convention is related to the wetlands and their conservation. So the Asan Conservation Reserve in Dehradun. So this might be asked in the upcoming APSC exam, that the Asan Conservation Reserve in Dehradun is the first wetland from Uttarakhand to be recognized by Ramsar. Now, the convention signed in 1971 in the Iranian city of Ramsar is one of the oldest intergovernmental accord for preserving the ecological characters of wetlands. So, APSC may very well ask that Ramsar Convention, frequently in news, is related to which field. So they will give options like nuclear uh, proliferation, or like biodiversity, or they will give like climate change. So answer will be wetland conservation. So here it is given that Ramsar declares Asan Conservation Reserve as a site of international importance, and with this, the number of Ramsar sites in India goes up to 38, the highest in South Asia. Now, this is the first wetland in Uttarakhand to get the Ramsar tag. Asan Conservation Reserve, home to rare species, is a fish spawning ground and has a lot of biological diversity. Now coming to the next important article, very important article for our upcoming exam. India has been ranked 94 in the Global Hunger Index, and this we are discussing under the General Studies 2 paper, Governance and Social Justice. So India has reached almost the bottom of the World Hunger Index, being ranked 94 among the 107 countries. So since it is in news, APSC will definitely ask question related to this topic. It is very much likely that a question will come from this topic. So currently, India is behind Nepal, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Indonesia, among others, on the Global Hunger Index. And only 13 out of 107 countries, including Rwanda, Afghanistan, Liberia, Chad, have faced worse than India. So India's condition is very much uh, disappointing. So in 2019, India was ranked 102, and while in 2008, the country rank was 103, but this time it further degraded. So the Global Hunger Index 2020 was jointly published by Concern Worldwide and World Hunger Health. So this is very important. APSC may ask this question, that who releases the Global Hunger Index and what is India's rank in the index. So this is very important from our exam perspective. So now coming to the next news article, low pressure over Bay of Bengal causing high temperature in Northeast. Now this topic we are studying under the General Studies 1 paper, Geography of India. So low pressure areas formed over the Bay of Bengal are causing the day temperature to shoot up beyond the normal in many places over the northeast. So this is the reason why there is an unnatural heat or hot day we are facing in Guwahati and many parts of Assam because of the two low pressure areas formed over the Bay of Bengal. Now, while the first of the lower pressure areas formed over the west central Bay of Bengal, the second low pressure system formed over the east central Bay of Bengal on October 10 and is subsequently concentrated into a depression and crossed Andhra Pradesh coast on October 13. Now, these two weather systems have practically obliterated moisture incursion in lower levels to the northeastern region from Bay of Bengal. So again, the next important article is that New Zealand Prime Minister wins landslide victory in general elections. So this is again very important for APSC prelims. In prelims, APSC may ask that which country has Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. So they will ask the name and they will ask the country, which country it is. So it is a common question pattern of question in APSC. So it is highly likely that a question will come from this article. So this topic we are studying from our General Studies 2 paper and topic international relations. So New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has won a landslide victory in the country's general elections held earlier in the day, securing her second term in office. So this is again very important because she has been re-elected. Now, with most ballots tallied, Ardern's ruling Labour Party has won 49% of the vote and is projected to win 64 seats. And this will give her an outright majority, which will be a first in the country since it introduced a voting system known as mixed member proportional representation in 1986. So this is again important. The type of election is mixed member. The voting system is mixed member proportional representation. Students, you can mention in the comment section what system of voting does India follow. So you can mention that in the comment section. So this is a highly important point that New Zealand follows. Then again, a very important newspaper article for our economic development. Indicators point to economic recovery as per a report. So this we are studying under the General Studies 3 paper, economic development. So after 6 months of severe stress triggered by the toughest lockdown so far, and some of the indicators now point towards economic recovery, but there are signs that this revival is fragile as per the brickwork ratings. Now it is estimated that the economy is likely to contract by 13.5% in the second quarter, and the contraction in financial year 21 is likely to be around 9.5% unless the government takes immediate initiative to revive the economy. So several indicators like the manufacturing PMI has shown a sharp increase from 52 in August to 56.8 in September, which is the highest in 8 years. So here we can see the manufacturing purchasing managers index. So this PMI is purchasing managers index has shown a sharp increase from 52 to 56.8 in September, and it is the highest in 8 years. Now, GST collections at rupees 95,480 crore in September have recovered to increase by 3.8% from last year. Also, the passenger vehicle sale has increased. So there are uh, various indicators which show that economy has been impacted by the coronavirus induced lockdown, but it is recovering certainly, and this is very important. Now coming to the next important article, Lokpal receives 1,427 complaints during the 2019-20 year, and this topic we are studying under the General Studies 2 paper, Polity and Governance. So a total of 1,427 complaints were received by anti-corruption ombudsman Lokpal. Now, what is the Lokpal? It is a anti-corruption body or anti-corruption ombudsman, and out of the 1,427, 613 were related to state government officials and 4 against union ministers and members of parliament. So this is very important. Here, from our examination point of view, the important point is that this one, last year, President Ramnath Kovind administered the oath of office to Justice Pinaki Chandra Ghosh as the chairperson of Lokpal. So this is important. APSC may ask, who is the chairperson of Lokpal? The answer is Justice Pinaki Chandra Ghosh. Now we are discussing the Apne Desh Ko Jano. So here it is given the International Poverty Eradication Day. There is a figure here given that the rights group Oxfam has said that in a report that India's richest 1% hold more than 4 times the wealth held by 953 million who make up the bottom 70% of the country's population. So this is a starting fact really. And here some of the Assam government schemes we are discussing, the Arundhati Goal scheme. So here some of the features of the scheme are mentioned. Students, you should memorize these features because a Assam government based scheme question will definitely come in the upcoming APSC exam. So you should be knowing, and we are regularly covering the Assam government scheme. So here, as in the Arundhati Goal scheme, it is mentioned that assistance of rupees 40,000 to brides to incur the gold expenditure. So now many, some section of the population may say that why we are giving gold to the bride and like we should give for the education on all education sector. But one thing we have to know that gold is an asset for a bride and a both groom also. So for the family, gold is a asset. Now it is known, it was known to our grandmothers also that they always used to keep a portion of gold with them, because in any tough situation the price of gold will always help them in any economic situation. So this is a very good decision by the government, or good scheme or initiative by the government of Assam. So the salient conditions are that bride and groom should have attained 18 and 21 years respectively for marriage registration. Marriage should be registered under the Special Marriage Act 1954. Marriage solemnized on or after the 1st December 2019 and registered on or after 1st January 2020 are eligible under the scheme. Total income. So these are important provisions. Total income of parents of the bride should be below 5 lakh per annum. Assistance is available for first marriage of bride only. Both the bride and groom must have passed HSLC, that is class 10th exam. No educational criteria is required for Adivasis and T-tribe communities. So these are exceptions. APSC or UPSC always ask questions on exceptions. So this is very important. And this Arundhati scheme is issued by the Revenue and Disaster Management Department, Government of Assam. So this is again important. Then here another জনস্বাস্থ্যকাৰী বিভাগ, it is the public health engineering, অসম চৰকাৰ, জল জীৱন মিছন, now ঘৰে ঘৰে বিশুদ্ধ পানী, now to give clean drinking water to every household, this is the mission, so you should know about it. Then there is another, the transport department government of Assam initiative called Zeebondinga, that is a incentivization scheme for country boat owners. And what is the scheme? The scheme is meant for country boat owners and who are plying on the mechanized boats on the rivers of Assam. And what are the primary benefits? Here it is given. So primary benefits and secondary benefits, students should be knowing them. Now we are discussing the important editorials of Assam Tribune. So the first article, first editorial rather, is the Phulaguri Dhewa, which is the peasant revolt in Assam. And this we are studying under the General Studies on Assam paper, History of Assam. So the maiden or the first agrarian uprising in Assam, referred to by historians as the Phulaguri Dhewa, was one of the most tragic yet heroic and inspiring episodes in the saga of the Indian freedom movement. So in October 1861, thousands of farmers in the remote corner of the British Empire rebelled against the injustices perpetuated by the colonialists who, in the guise of being saviors to the local population, had annexed the land and exploited its dwellers. So here it is a brief history is here given that prior to the advent of British সকল অহাৰ আগতে villagers in Assam were not required to pay any tax on their land. The Ahom rulers insisted, stipulating that they give service to the state in lieu of the revenue payment. But the British, in order to extract revenue, began to levy taxes and periodically enhance them. In central and lower Assam, a tax called Gadhan, amounting to rupees 2 per head, was imposed, for which a farmer was entitled to 3 puras of arable land. Now, this land taxation system resulted in severe economic distress for farmers who had to pay a fixed amount of money each year, even if their crops were destroyed or by floods or pests. So, farmers had to pay for availing the natural bounties of the region, which had earlier been free served as added fuel to the anger of the masses. And thus, the post-Sepoy Mutiny 1857 phase was a dark one for the population of Assam, with the rural masses experiencing increasing poverty. So till then, a well-defined middle class had not emerged in Assam, and the peasant artisan masses themselves had to ventilate their grievances directly to the unresponsive masters of the land, which explains the spate of agrarian agitations that engulfed the region in the second half of the 19th century. So we know that the Phulaguri Dhewa, the Pathurughat revolt, these were the expressions of the anger which the peasants and farmers had towards the British government. So in this article, the whole history of the Phulaguri Dhewa is mentioned. Students, you can also refer to our Assam history notes. We have very comprehensively covered the Assam history part. So, and the various peasant and agrarian revolts during British era. So, we will not discuss again in this editorial. So, you can refer to our notes also. The next important editorial is regarding the R.G. Baruah, that is the Radha Govinda Baruah, and his idea of the Assam First. Now, this topic we are studying under the General Studies of the Assam paper, Post-Independence Assam. So, here it is mentioned that Radha Govinda Baruah, he was a stalwart and he was the architect of modern Assam. He is also called the architect of modern Assam, and this has been a statement of the Chief Minister of Assam. So here it is said that Guwahati was proud to have the Radha Govinda Baruah, the lion man of Assam, that is Kingha Proof. So if a question comes in APSC prelims, who is known as the lion man of Assam or Kingha Proof, the answer will be R.G. Baruah, and he is also called the architect of modern Assam and also Guwahati's first mayor. So these points are highly important. Any point may be picked up by APSC and may be asked in the upcoming prelims exam. So R.G. Baruah was a true patriot and a patriot to the marrow, that is to the very bone, and he was concerned for the well-being of the motherland Assam, and the sense of patriotism was reflected through all his actions. and regarding the art, culture, social structure, etc. And he took Assam to his very deep corner of heart as his betrothed, and he has also was leader in many fields of making Assam self-sufficient, and has also he was the founder of the paper Assam Tribune. So, in this editorial, the author has made a parallel of R.G. Baruah with like Sir Jamsetji Tata, and he has really influenced the economic growth of Assam post-independence. Now, here another important point for the APSC prelims point of view, that the birth anniversary or a birth date of R.G. Baruah is 17 October 1900. Now coming to our next important editorial, natural gas pipeline. Now this topic we are discussing under the General Session of Assam Economic Development. The pipeline right to use ROU sharing agreement between NRL and GAIL is a welcome development, and under the agreement, both the companies will share a common ROU for laying their respective pipelines for a stretch of 550 km from Purnia in Bihar to Guwahati. So the GAIL Barauni Guwahati pipeline BGPL, which is a part of the Pradhan Mantri Urja Ganga project, will feed natural gas to pipelines under the Northeast gas grid, and NRL is also having its 1,630 kilometer Paradip Numaligarh crude pipeline, so that it can obtain the crude oil from Paradip port through the states of Orissa, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Bihar and Assam, and finally it will reach the Numaligarh. So this is a very reality that the oil refineries of Assam has to make this pipeline so as to they can bring oil from the mainland India, and this is a reality which Assam has to face, and it is very through these initiatives it is meeting the requirement. So given that Assam is a major oil and natural gas producing state, such essential infrastructure is required, and the feasibility of the gas pipelines for domestic purposes should also be explored. Now, effective channeling of natural gas can go a long way in addressing the perennial power shortage of the state. And Assam in particular is largely dependent on thermal power stations. However, now if natural gas can be made available, then Assam's power shortage can very soon be minimized. So with these students, we come to an end to today's current affairs class. I hope this class was very helpful. Thank you. Thank you very much.